Hey, I had something hit me tonight about the nervous system, and so I wanted to walk through this. So I'm sorry for the poor lighting, but I didn't want to wait till tomorrow to do the video. So, the nervous system, I'm learning, is what controls your capacity to hold a higher state of awareness in form in reality. So you'll have this experience, right, when you start waking up where you realize that the persona and the way that you had been acting out in the world was due to belief systems that you were running on autopilot that don't actually match the real you. And the real you is, you'll catch it, you'll catch this observer inside of you where you start to wake up to the fact that you're not all of your thoughts. And there's this part of you that feels really powerful, that's unemotionally attached to reality, that is watching your own thoughts come and go. So this is kind of the first part of waking up. And then you go through the motions where that observer state you realize is your direct connection to God. And you feel your power and you start to go down this path. And the over time, what the goal is to get that higher state of awareness to guide your actions. But to do this, your ego, which is your character, your persona in the game that actually acts out and interacts with this physical reality, has to unprogram beliefs that are tied to the nervous system to match that higher state that is you, that's the real you, so you can start to bring that level of awareness in form in this physical world. So when I talk about the inner work, what I'm saying is that your nervous system, even if you awaken to a higher level of consciousness, your nervous system is still wired in a lower dimensional timeline until you rewire it yourself. And this takes active programming, like reprogramming your thoughts and belief systems and your emotions. And so when you go through this journey, go with it very open-minded, because what you'll find is you'll be guided to certain shows, movies, every environment you're interacting with is showing you where your nervous system is still reacting or responding to life that doesn't align with the belief system that matches your true state of a higher dimension. And what you'll find is the more you create awareness with this and you observe it, the stronger you become in getting confident that you can actually rewire everything you've ever believed about this world with your own mind and your own words. So your words are very powerful. So you don't want to just talk to yourself inside of your mind and question and ask yourself, why do I believe this about myself? Why do I believe this about myself? Where did these beliefs come from? Start taking that and then rewiring it with what you know is true. Because when you awaken, you're shown the truth of reality, and more truths unveil as you hold more truth in your being. And so you'll get to a point, like I'm getting to this point with myself, where my old behavioral patterns, which I realized I was enacting because of the collective from just being disconnected this whole time in a lower dimension, I had been feeding those beliefs. I now will talk to myself verbally out loud and tell myself what the truth is, and tell myself, we're not this anymore. This isn't us. It never was us. And you talk to it with authority. And what you'll find is when you go to bed at night and then you wake up the next morning, you're stronger. And sometimes you still act out those behavioral patterns that you did before, but you're much more aware of why they occurred. And you realize you're unprogramming false beliefs from this lower dimensional timeline. So the reason this world is so gross and hellish is because we believe that that's what it is. So when you stop believing that, reality, you basically make space for reality and people to grow, essentially. Because a lot of what I get on these comments sometimes is that people think that other people don't have the capacity to hold truth. But when you talk to people and you assume that they can't receive you, you're only keeping them trapped and you're keeping yourself trapped. You need to talk to people as if you know that God is directly in them, and they might not be able to perceive everything you're saying, but they can feel it. And so you've done your due diligence of speaking with authority in every interaction you go through in life with a higher belief system. If you go and you interact with people and you still feed the lower dimensional illusion, even though you know there's a higher way, you are knowingly entrapping yourself and them in a lower dimensional way of being, and you will continually have to repeat the lesson over and over and over again until you figure it out. So go off of how you feel. Does this feel right? And sometimes you'll get tested to speak truth, and you're being guided to essentially speak truth without worrying how people respond and without seeking validation. And what this does is it rebuilds the ego's relationship with the higher state, which is the true state, which is the soul, which is God. Because when you were a child, you were very connected to God, and some people stay connected to God very well, but some people build this very large persona where they're performing for the world. They're seeking external validation, and that just giving them short hits of it's feeding their ego, but they're not fully in alignment with their soul or their higher truth. And so this is why humanity goes through such depression and anxiety and withdrawal, because they're feeding a reality that doesn't align with themselves. And a lot of people are aware of this. And instead of remembering that the answer's all inside of them, we've created a belief system in religion that seeks answers outside of them. And another thing that people have to realize is that religion was built for people who are at a specific level in the game. But if you're born into religion and it never has felt right to you, it's because you operate in a higher level that doesn't need religion. And you're supposed to remember that, and then that way you can be a light for people who have sought religion, so they can understand that there is a higher path, there is a higher level. And so all of this, once again, ties back to the nervous system and rewiring your nervous system to match a higher dimensional being. Now, just to plant some seeds, a higher dimensional being doesn't sit around all day. They move their body. They recognize that their body is a gift from God. They learn to love their body. They learn, what does that mean, right? I've been shown fruit, and now I'm being shown that breath is really the highest path, but fruit is like a gift. And so if this sounds a lot to you, start paying attention to how you feel after what you consume, because it is a lot. I mean, the truth of reality of what's possible for humanity is profound. And you have the ability to get there consciously. So the worst thing you can do for yourself in this process and your nervous system is to say, I could never do that, because that blocks you from a higher potential timeline. Now, there's a difference between seeing someone do something and being like, okay, that just doesn't make logical sense for me. But if you start to look at everyone in life and humanity as a mirror of you, and notice that a lot of people's bodies aren't in alignment, and even those that look maybe externally appear a specific way, their mental health is not in alignment. They have a lot of thoughts going in and out that they're battling. You have to ask yourself, okay, do I believe God would just leave me hanging here with no answers? And the answer is no, God wouldn't do that. There's answers. And so just keep seeking, and remember that rewiring your nervous system and your beliefs is the best thing you can do for yourself, because then reality will shift to match that.